She was already having somebody that was toasting her out of her matrimonial home. So she was looking at the guy, and she was actually getting comfortable with the guy. He would bring her flowers, and sometimes she would think of her husband, but sometimes she would just forget about him because he was also somewhere else cheating and having his affairs, always out of the home. So at some point,
this is my season.
Hi guys, welcome to today's Sunday video, and thank you guys for stopping by. If it's your first time here, you are welcome to the channel, and thank you for stopping by. Today is Sunday, and you guys know what we do on Sundays. On Sundays we talk marriage. So during the week, in the course of the week rather, I watched a movie that was titled Gbemi. It's a Mount Zion movie. If you've been on my channel for a while, you know that I always recommend Mount Zion movies. Their movies are very edifying. They will bless you when you watch it. So I watched this particular movie, Gbemi, and I couldn't stop talking about it. There were so many things that I could pick, life lessons in general, but because this is Sunday and we talk about and we normally talk about marriage related issues, I'm just going to pick out the lessons that are marriage related from there, and I'm going to share with you guys. So in the movie Gbemi, there are two main characters, John and Gbemi herself. John is this young guy whom God has given a vision, and he has purposed in his heart that he was going to follow through with this vision and make sure he does what God has called him to do. But then he has this girlfriend or this fiancée he wants to get married to, who does not see this vision with him and is insisting that he should get a higher paid job. And he actually went through with her plans by getting a job, even though he let it go at some point. I advise that when you're done watching this the lessons I learned, go ahead on YouTube and watch the movie itself. It has season 1, season 2, and season 2 just has 2 episodes, so it's just like 3 different videos you're going to watch, like 1 hour each. So on the other hand, there's Gbemi. Gbemi is this young girl who has her career going for her. She's beautiful. She has her friend who is constantly pressurizing her to get married, to go and mingle and meet people. Then she has her boss who is pressurizing her also to have sex with her. Then she has her mom who is trying to hook her up with other people. Like, they feel like they are doing something. I mean, her mom and her friend, they are actually pushing her to get married because they feel like, in quotes, she is of age to get married. She's at the point where the next best opportunity for her is marriage. So I'm going to share with you guys some of the lessons I learned from watching the movie Gbemi. The first lesson I learned came from the lady Gbemi herself. I could see that throughout her season of wilderness, or her season of waiting, because she actually wanted to get married. She loved the institution of marriage, and she knew she was going to get married. But then God had told her what to do. God had told her to pray and intercede for her husband, not go and search for her husband. And a lot of times she was telling her friend that my husband is looking for me, I'm not the one looking for him. Because her friend would be like, go out there, go and look for, go and mingle, go and, she'll be like, my husband is looking for me, I'm not the one looking for my husband. So in her waiting season, while she was waiting to be found by her husband, she knew that she had to stay still, and she had to stay confident in God and trusting the process that God was taking her through. But then her family, her mom and her friend, they kept on pressurizing her, but she did not bow to that pressure. So the first lesson I learned is, sometimes the people who love you the most are the ones who are going to want to take you out of your waiting season, out of that wilderness period, not knowing that that season of waiting and you being in the wilderness is the time when God is actually preparing you for the blessing, or for the glory, or for something ahead. So yeah, that's the first thing. During that season of waiting, she was building herself spiritually, and you could see how it played in her marriage. When things were going wrong, when she was waiting to have a child, she was waiting to conceive, you could see that the fact that she had built herself earlier spiritually, it was playing out in her marriage, and she was very strong, she was patient, unlike her husband, who you'd expect, because I think he had more of a role of like a pastor, but you would expect that he would be the one who was probably stronger in faith and praying and standing in the gap. But then no, she was the one who was doing all of that. So I think her season in the waiting room or the wilderness was that season that really built her spiritually to be what she was in her marriage. Also, Gbemi in the movie, at some point when she was younger, she was raped by her dad, and so she carried it. It was part of the reason why she was firm when it came to men. Like, she wouldn't she knew that she was going to get married, but then she still had this in her, and I think she was very suspicious of men. So there was a point in the movie where she had to go meet her dad because she wasn't communicating with her dad. Her dad would call and she wouldn't pick, because she hadn't forgiven her dad for what he did. So there was a point in the movie where she had to let go. At that point, she had already met John, and they were friends, but they were not yet in a relationship. So she had to go to the hospital, meet her dad, and then she had to let go of all the pain. She forgave her dad, and then when she forgave her dad, that's when I feel like that's when her eyes were open to John being the one for her or something, because immediately after that, that's when their relationship took a different turn. So I think that sometimes the people that we carry in our hearts, the burden, the pain, the hurt, the anger, the unforgiveness, it blocks us from actually getting to a place of our blessing or from reaping what it is God has in store for us. Another lesson I learned from watching the movie Gbemi is that as women, our husbands might be the head of the house, but then we are the gatekeepers. If as a gatekeeper, if you remember when we were in secondary school, gatekeepers were like principals. So when you come late to school, because that's the person that will let you in. If the gatekeeper has shut the gate, you can't get in. So women, we are gatekeepers in our home, and we need to be spiritually alert. And that's something that I learned from a statement that Gbemi made in the movie. So there was this lady that was approaching her husband a lot in the office, and she saw a couple of times, and she could hear from her the way her husband would speak of this lady. The lady would bring food to the office, and her husband would collect and eat. And I was just shocked, like, Oga pastor, Oga brother, what are you doing? Why are you eating that food? Who gave you? So he was eating the food, and he came back home and innocently, like excitedly rather, told his wife and was like, oh, Sister Buki brought this for me, and it was so delicious. She said, okay, I took time to cook for you, and Sister Buki has given you food. You will be eating from Sister Buki. That's when now the husband was like, okay, bring the food, I'll eat. And she started telling the husband that a great snake is hugging you right now. If you are not vigilant and spiritually sensitive enough, it is going to bite you. She said, you are the head of this home, but remember, I am the gatekeeper, and a lot of times what I see as a woman, you might not be able to see. So listen to me. And this brother was not listening until he got to a certain point. I feel like you want to watch this movie to know what I'm talking about. Okay, so that's one of the lessons, the marriage lessons I got from this movie, that as women, we need to be very sensitive spiritually, and we need to use our 4 eyes. Like, we need to be seen beyond. Check things very well, censor everything very well. And I think a lot of women naturally, even women who are not spiritual, we are very keen. Like, we can easily, that's why they always say a woman can easily catch her husband if her husband is cheating, but a man cannot easily catch the woman, because we women, I don't know, we have there's something. So use it. If you take it to another level in terms of being spiritually alert and having the spirit of discernment, then you can save your home from so many different things. Another lesson I learned from there, which I think is something that all of us know, that cheating in marriage can lead to so much damage in a home, on the child, on the wife, on the husband, on the relatives, it's just on the finances of the family. Cheating can do so much to the family, so much damage to the family. There was this Gbemi's boss who was trying to get in bed with her. He was actually very, what's the word, is it promiscuous? He was a very loose man. He was everywhere, all over the place. He was just all over the place with women. He was cheating on his wife so much. At one point, the wife actually wanted a divorce, but because of their daughter kept on praying for them, and she would hold her mother's hand and pray and say, I know you have lost my dad, but I pray that I have faith, and I pray that God is going to bring him back. Imagine your child holding your hand and praying that. And then she wanted to leave, she wanted to break up with the man, but because she felt like her daughter's faith was hanging on them coming back together, because she had so much faith that they were going to be together again as a family, she felt like her going away and then breaking completely apart was going to be it's going to shatter her daughter's faith. So she tried to see how she could make things right. She was already having somebody that was toasting her out of her matrimonial home. So she was looking at the guy, and she was actually getting comfortable with the guy. He would bring her flowers, and sometimes she would think of her husband, but sometimes she would just forget about him, because he was also somewhere else cheating and having his affairs, always out of the home. So at some point, and this guy that was actually asking her out, it was a setup from one of her husband's extra one of her husband's girlfriends. They were trying to set her up to get images of her in bed with this guy, and then it finally happened. She wanted to kill herself. Her daughter was kidnapped. So cheating in marriage is a no-no. It can cause so many terrible things. So many terrible things. Watching this movie, I think if you're in that position where you're cheating, or you're planning to cheat, or you're being cheated on, somehow this movie can inspire you, and it can bring breakthrough for you and for your home. If you're watching, I mean, I saw so many reviews about this movie that when I started watching it, I was watching from a place of I want to receive. There should be something, and it always happens. Like when I watch Mount Zion movies or I watch Amplifiers TV, those are the two Christian movie channels or skit channels that I've always been recommending to you guys. Please go and check them out. You will never run out of what to watch on those channels. So you guys, there are so many different lessons that I learned from watching the movie Gbemi, but then there's one very important lesson that I think I want to share, which is having spiritual authority. I remember saying this thing in one video, that I remember speaking about it in one video, and I think there were a couple of people who did not agree, but I'm going to say it again. I feel like having spiritual authority, having somebody that can pray for you, or somebody that you can talk to. Now the reason why a lot of people do not agree is because, like, who do you really trust nowadays? Like, who can you really talk to? Is it the pastor? Because pastors themselves now, so you hear stories, a pastor is cheating, how does the pastor? But the truth is that because somebody wears the cap of a pastor, they can actually pastor you right, but not pastor themselves right, which is not something right to happen. But it does happen. What I'm trying to say is that you need to have somebody like a spiritual authority that you can run to, and that can speak sense into you, that can pray for you. If you see, when John, at the beginning, when John had problems with his first girlfriend and she broke up with him, he ran to his pastor and he told his pastor, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? Why are women running away from me? Don't I dress well? And all of that. And he kept on advising him and telling him, pursue the purpose that God has given for you, and in that purpose you will find your wife. Keep going forward, you will find her. God is going to lead you to where she is, and you will find her. And he prayed for John. And so I feel like if you don't have somebody that can speak that voice of reasoning over you, you might find yourself, maybe he would have gone back to chase after the other lady and start following her up and down and just doing what he's not supposed to do. So I think it's very important to have like a covering, somebody that you can speak to when it comes to your marriage. It's very important for the husband and for the wife, or maybe the same person for both husband and both wife, but that you as the wife can probably run to individually, or you as the husband can run to individually. But now it gets as if, I really don't understand why a lot of people did not agree with that, but it's very important. It's important to have somebody like a mentor, somebody you can speak to. Is very important. Then it's now also important to know who that person is, and to be sure that you're getting the right word from somebody. Okay, now I'm going to advise you guys to go to the channel name is Mike Bamiloye. You guys know what the channel name is, very long. I'm going to leave it on the screen, but if you go on YouTube and type Mount Zion movies, or you type Gbemi, I'll spell it on the screen, you're going to find this movie, and you find so many other movies that they have done. I think there's one movie that they've done recently that I have to watch as well. It's a series. It's called it's a Nigerian name, you guys, pardon me. It's called, I think, Ajeboye or Adebo. It has one name like that, but I have to watch the movie because I've seen reviews about the movie as well, and the reviews are quite good. So I'm going to watch the movie. And yeah, that's all I had to share with you guys on today's Sunday video. I hope you guys were blessed, and I hope that you can check out this movie, check out these channels that I've mentioned, so that they can bless you as they are blessing me. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next Sunday. I'll see you guys during the week, and then I'll see you guys again on Sunday. Bye.